Today's topic is the current market, the housing bubble, if that's what it is, and just kind of understanding this seller's market and maybe get to a better place with how it's affecting you as a home seller or maybe a home buyer. So, a housing bubble. What is a housing bubble? A housing bubble is a run up in housing prices sparked by heavy demand, maybe speculation, and heavy spending. And I think that's why people are thinking, is that going to be, are we in a housing bubble now? Because we have this extreme demand and the very limited supply. And we also have, in recent memory, 2007, 2008, the crash, the bubble burst at that point in time. But that was in a lot of ways, it was a completely different story, and it was the result of bad mortgage situations, lending that was taking place where people really shouldn't have qualified for a loan. A lot of people were in variable rate loans, starting out at a very affordable payment each month, and then when the market changed, when supply was fruitful, the interest rates then rose, and so these variable rate mortgages rose as well. People couldn't afford them, and so then you have a crash. Some things that are causing this current situation are the mortgage interest rates are really low, and they've been low for a while, but they are even to today, and they're expected to be to remain low through into the fall. So there's no need to, for an emergency type of reaction. The flood of federal stimulus monies that has also helped to heat up the market to the point where we are right now. The lockdowns that we've experienced and the working from home. So let's consider consumer spending. Consumer spending was halted in large part by the COVID-19 pandemic. You couldn't go out to have a meal at a restaurant. You really had a difficult time going to the grocery store or shopping of any kind. So that resulted in people saving money and to some degree likely affected the housing market. Somebody would have been more able to go out and purchase their first home, having a larger sum of money to go and use as a down payment and have money for closing costs. But as the economy loosens up again and people start spending, that should defer some of the demand on the housing market. Through 2020, mortgage rates hit historic lows, and with the impacts of COVID, they've remained low because the Fed is trying to restart the economy. I mean, there's been a ton of job loss. There's been a lot of companies that have suffered, and there's a need to get the economy restarted again. So interest rates have remained low for some period of time. The demand for housing, it was already high, and now it's just that much worse. So I think per the my local lending sources, listening to the national economists, rates are going to remain low into the fall, and the housing stock will be restored. You're going to see new construction coming back online again as building materials are more available. They're going to be more expensive, but they will be more available, and so new construction can get restarted again. And all of these factors will loosen up the market so that buyers are going to have maybe a little bit better advantage, but first-time home buyers, it's tough. If you're on a fixed budget, which most people are, you may have to wait a little bit. You may have to save a little bit more to get your first start in a new home. So potential sellers, even clients that I've talked to, they are apprehensive to list their home because it's starting to loosen up now, but initially with COVID, they didn't want people walking through their homes. They didn't want the exposure to COVID-19. They didn't want to have to deal with that in listing. So, and as I said before, new construction experienced a delay or a stoppage due to the difficulty in obtaining building materials. And then I'm sure that many projects were subject to the increased pricing in building materials, so their pricing had to change too. So I'm sure there were many contracts canceled. I'm aware of a few where they had to go and revisit costing and then put their product back out on the market based on current conditions and pricing. And then also affecting the housing shortage, renters being stuck in a small apartment, having been able to save a few dollars, now they're also part of that buyer pool that is lending itself to the shortage in the housing. It will stabilize over time. The interest rates are thought to stay low through the fall and possibly beyond. It is a consensus that the inventory will build back up again and housing will be available. I think probably first-time home buyers that are just having a really tough time are probably going to have to wait a little while. I don't, based on the information I'm getting, I don't see prices falling back again. I think they'll stabilize, and maybe as more inventory comes on, you won't see as much competition and price raising. But I think we're in a healthy and sustainable situation because the borrowers, the buyers are solid. It is a true, honest economy where it's just working off the demand in the inventory. So thank you for joining me today. I hope the information I provided was valuable to you and maybe brought you a little understanding. Please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks very much. Take care.